Hello everybody, how's everyone doing? This is Catching Up With and I am Wajeeh. And for the past 40 minutes I've been just sitting here and just work keeps popping up. This is not the only thing I do, of course. Um, but anyways, there was a recent comment on the video that cracked me up. Uh, this person just wants to give me a wedgie, and I keep like I keep thinking like, bro, wedgie is immune to veggies. Wedgie is unveggible. Like you just can't, bro. Like I'm sitting here, honestly, I have a feeling like you'll need to find the perfect specimen to give me a wedgie, and still then I'll just pull out, a wild card, if you know what I mean. And I think you probably understand the reason why I'm unvegetable or immune to the veggies. But yeah, enough with that. That genuinely cracked me up. I was just laughing. As for the other comment, I wanted to get to that, but first, just wanna say the intro and stuff. The intro is basically me telling you the date and the time. So it's like November 10, and it's almost 10:30 a.m. And we'll go through the comment. Yeah. So I wrote it down just to break it down because the comment had multiple questions, and I can't really answer in a one go because that would complicate things. And that topic is really touching for me because I feel that there is a need to balance all of that. And we see both extremes. Let's just start with this. We see both extremes of, in men and women. Now we see both of them. And I'll tell you the examples. First one is, everybody knows him, Andrew Tate. And the other one is, let's say Bonnie Blue. Okay, both of them are somewhat, if not extremes, from gender perspectives. That's my view. One is, and then the other, you know. So those are extremes. That's all I'm saying. And I completely stand on that point and I will not back off. Both of those things are extremes. Both of those things are generally bad for the society. I will say that. And I'm no one here to lecture anyone, but I think it has a bad impact on the children and the people who are malleable and are more sensitive to these things, where they just quickly adapt and take it as it is and consider that as reality. And there's no, my concern isn't just for men or just for women, it's for both, it's for children. There's no gender involved in that, right? Equally concerned for everyone, because I have little sisters as well, and I have elder sisters, and I have my brothers as well. So yeah, let me start with the comment. Yeah, so the comment says, I'll break down the questions directly and then I'll read the last part, and that way you can see my whole answer to your whole comment, and not just a single swing of the bat with this very dense and important topic. And I will not do the Ben Shapiro thing as well, like where you ask him, do the clouds rain, and then he's like, but do you hear the thunder, and do you know He'll start talking about the other bullshit, like, do you see the moon at night? And like, what the fuck? I just asked about rain. You're just doing everything else but talking about rain, right? So I don't want to do that. That's why I wrote down, and wanted to answer. So the first part of the comment, it says, beyond something that struck me with you. Beyond sexual organs, what is a man and what is a woman? That question, just from my view, it has a simple answer, and I'll answer it in that exact way. Without our organs, we are just meat in a way. Without our organs, we are not us. We are born with organs. It's those things which we are born with. It's the conditions for life, and it's at the place of, you could say, all life in a way, right? So the question itself, it's again the part where I was telling you yesterday, where it's like the thing about the simulacra is that there are so many loops, and I feel like this question is part of the simulacra. It's questioning the reality itself. Think about it. It's a condition without any, or symptoms without any, the point, because we are all born with organs, be it male or female. That would be my answer to this question. Without organs, we don't exist. And yes, I will agree that there are some anomalies, and by all means, with all respect, there are special people out there who are inherently born without these conditions. And I really can't answer about those people who are born in a certain way. And I'm talking about born in a certain way, not born correct and then changed, edited, and tried to, then implement that on everyone else based on their own personal truth or personal experience. Yes, so that there's a very clear distinction between people with disabilities and then people who make the disabilities and then pretend or start prancing around and taking that flag higher up than anyone else. And it's like, okay, so that's the first part of the question, the comment that I answered. The second part goes, are men and women defined by certain sweeping characteristics or by social norms? Or by social roles, I think, sorry. Or by social roles. I think there are ways you can look at it. Men and women. This is the truth, that every single person is born with their own strengths and their own weaknesses. And then certain characteristics are those which are developed over the course of their life experiences and stuff. And social roles are, again, the same question as before, organs. Social roles, nobody is just born. And then again, we'll have certain cases which are unique to their nature and to the circumstances, but generally speaking, Most people are born, and then there are humans that surround them in any or all cases. You have your parents or your grandfathers or your grandmothers or your family members, siblings, step siblings, you know. In most cases, you are surrounded by someone, and usually, most of the time, if you go back and remember, every single one of us always had that cool uncle or that cool auntie or that cool cousin or your father was your idol. And for most people, that's true, and somewhat for me as well. So when you're young, you impersonate you're basically like a learning machine. You're learning everything, you're absorbing everything that's in front of you. And you're born, you have no sense of good or right. That's we can't really argue there. If you're a 2 year old, you have no sense of what's good or what's bad. And you're just figuring stuff out, man. Kids are so pure. And I think that's why we all feel really bad when we see a kid who's just getting abused or misused. It just hurts some part of your soul. Let's be honest there. Now, are we defined by our characteristics? That would depend on the reasons, I would say. I think in most cases, yes. A man has its role, a soldier has its role, and then a nurse has its role. I'm not saying a nurse can't be a non-warrior, and I'm not saying a soldier can't be a doctor. There are certain plays here. There's a huge amount of possibilities. The thing we should differentiate between is does those characteristics. I've been thinking about this. Two gay men or two lesbian women, when they adopt a child or surrogate, okay, well, fucking men nowadays are getting pregnant. I don't know how the fuck that's happening. And I don't want to fucking get into it. That's just like, it will just, anyway. So I think about this, like now they have a child. What does that child think? How is he being, or what environment is he being grown up in? What are the chances that he'll turn out to imitate or perhaps get confused that why are both my mom, where's my fucking dad? If he looks at, other children outside, or maybe starts asking the other children outside, like, you don't have two moms? Or you don't have two dads? Or maybe what if he goes, this kid growing up, he sees his dad kissing his dad. It's fucking nasty. And then he, just out of love, just the kid is pure, right? He's not at fault here. But he goes and kisses his friend, and his friend's like, motherfucker, what the fuck? Or you could apply the same scenario to the girl. And this is just one of those things. And you weigh the good and the bad. And in certain situations, I think definitely we are defined by the characteristics which define us. You can put them as your strengths and your weaknesses. And yeah, that would be my answer. And social roles, again, it's like, give me a scenario where I could understand, and then we'll weigh the goods and the bads, and then you'll know the answer itself, right? Do you get what I'm saying? We have to weigh the goods and the bads, the impacts, and we can we can play like both scenarios where it's all positive or it's all bad, but we have to come back into reality and see the effects as they are. And I think it's pretty inherent that there are effects of not weighing the outs and the goods and the bads. I think it's definitely fucking wrong if you imprint a child with two dads. It's it's the collapse of society, I feel like. I think I know this might be a bit weird. I'm gonna segue away from here and then come back to the comment, because there's a couple more things I have to talk about. We have to look at it from this point. We have There's been a lot of times where humans have completely wiped themselves out, or are wiped by certain elements from nature, or you can say by calamities or by God. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with anyone what it could be, and we can call it Mother Nature or God, whatever you believe in. But the absolute truth is, it has happened. The people who built the pyramid are no longer alive. We don't know how they built the pyramid. The people who built these ancient cities, let's say in the Amazon, or let's say go back Tepe, or we can go, they're not alive anymore. And maybe it's the Mother Nature or God just looking and saying, holy shit, these guys are fucking everything up. No, 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 that's the wrong hole. Holy shit, no. And that's what happened. And like, wipe, reset, let's go again. The simulation went crazy. Um, I think there. Okay, let's go back to the comment now. So the comment says, I'm just making sure that I'm reading the right things, because I wrote it down here as well, so I can break down the questions. And I'm looking here at the comment itself as well, just making sure that they're correct, even though I wrote it down, which is kind of stupid. But anyway, are those characteristics and social roles inherent to their condition, or are they developed over the course of time and culture? Well, I pretty much answered it in the previous thing. Like, let's look at girls in general, and you see that they have this soft and caring nature, and I've seen it over and over and over again. It's this caring, soft, gentle nature. And with boys, I've seen, my cousin is a fucking example, I am a fucking example, and every other man is a fucking example. Sorry, I'm cursing. Uh, it's not, I'm not trying to be rude or trying to dismiss the point, but men are generally rude in nature, and there are, of course, some women or some girls who are like that too. I'm not denying that. But generally, if you look at it, I think over the period of time, as kids grow up, they lose their habits as well, and then they imprint on other females or their social circle or their interactions. So it's, if you trace it back, go back to the root or the beginning, you can almost see it play out and understand why certain things are the way they are. And you could understand, perhaps there was a mishap, or there was a really bad experience, or there was an. But for most healthy and generally good human social circles, you'll see females adapt to female nature and be more inclined towards being a female in the traditional or the humanly traditional sense, inherent to their base instincts of this. caring and motherly thing, the mama bear. We can't really talk about the papa bear because he's a fucking retard. You know, he runs away almost. But yeah, then you see males, and then traditionally, and it's not like you can almost see that the females, there's always good and bad there, and then the males, there's always good and bad there, and then you trace the goods and you trace the bads in both, and then you can see why it happened the way it happened, and then you can keep going like that and understand like what might be the reason that this person is this way. And that doesn't mean you have to change that person. I'll give you a very good example. One of my friends, when I met him, I swear to God, I thought he was gay. Because the way he was speaking was very feminine. So I made sure that there was a distance between us, like physical distance between us. Because I was like, I'm not taking chances. Because it's because of some of my personal experience where I had some bad situations happen to me, and that's the only reason. Like I was like, it just didn't feel easy with me. So I just kept my physical distance. Not that I was mistreating him or calling him gay or something. I was never like that. If someone ever even cursed at me when I was younger, I remember when I was very young, someone cursed at my mother. I started crying, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I started crying. The guy who cursed my mother started saying sorry, and then he started like comforting me. He's like, no, no, I was just joking, bro. It's not like that. Like, come on, calm down. Like, so it was a very odd situation, right? So if you look at it from that perspective, as we grow older and as we learn, as we imprint, as we fix ourselves, as we see our strengths, as we see our weaknesses, we reach our own equilibriums. And you know, there's no good or bad if you're seeing the outcomes are going in a generally good direction. That's what I'm trying to say. And culture, look, cultures, there's so many cultures. Again, we can't really point fingers to, we can't point fingers. Like some cultures are bad. Again, weigh the goods and the bads, and you get to understand, okay, that's bad. If a man, and I'm going to the first, second, third, fourth, fifth part of the comment, it says, if a man or a woman inherently acts and feels in opposition to those roles, should they be forced to adhere to them anyway? Not by social conditioning. So I think no. If it's a grown ass man or a grown ass woman, who are you to point at them if they are not doing something or affecting someone, to point at them and say, why like that? That's what I believe. But at the same time, I also believe it's important, if someone is going out of the line, if someone is going crazy tatted like that, what, regardless of what he believes or not, what impact does that have on the children? Tatting up is one thing. Over tatting up, looking like fucking alien or Prometheus, or then it's out of hand. You need to put like a stop to it. A little bit tatted up, I find tattoos to be very cool in a way. But just, there's another thing that I was thinking about too, which I'll come to. So, at forced to adhere to them, no. But I think generally most people course correct. It's it's almost like this, where eventually people do realize what they're doing good or what they're doing bad, and then they course correct and fix up and make up for their mistakes. So it's like to wait and see, but again, weigh the outs, goods and bad, and you see like someone's going over the board, and then like drag queens going to the. This is a very good example. If drag queens, men dressed as crazy fat fucking men dressed as crazy women with brush looking hair, like the bald spot in between, and wearing crazy makeup and going to the kids school and kindergarten and teaching kids about fucking drag queen, that's like, bro, if I was a guard or a teacher in that school, I will fucking kick that guy's ass and put him out. That is fucking insane. That is if we're talking about forcing or forced to adhere the adults in this way, children are malleable, bro. This is not even a discussion anymore. Like, children are malleable. Whatever you feed them, they grow up to be that. So, limits, boundaries, doing things over the board and then going to children's school, that's bad. That's straight up bad. That's fucking evil, bro. That's fucking evil. That's Satan. Uh, so yeah, most people course correct, and then if someone's going over the board, I think maybe they shouldn't again be forced, but they should be made aware that the impacts they're having. Most people nowadays, if a person, this is my view, if I see someone who's going overboard and I see that he's not aware of it, there are people who are aware of it, there are people who are not aware of it. If someone is unaware, he's not he's not aware, it's not my job to go up to him. But if it starts to affect me or someone I know, then it's my job. I will go up to him, speak up to him very respectfully, and I will explain to him one, two, three, four. And it's not like I'm gonna point all the bad things. At first I will, but I'm also gonna compliment him on the other things. So he understands that he's not all bad. He's good too. But I will also explain him the effects. And this is the effects, and this is, and this is, and this. It's that simple. And then, yeah, you know, and if he has a bad intention, or he has evil in him, he has that Satan's seed growing in him, little growing out his ass or something, then I think the authorities should be involved if it's causing harm or causing, yeah, I will leave it at that. Because that's where I draw my boundaries. If it starts affecting the people I know, or if it starts affecting things which I am observing, and then if I don't intervene, not that it's my job, but if it's affecting and no one is, I will step up, you know. Because what happens later is then at some point, you'll perhaps, I believe this, that you'll face the consequences of the same inactions that you weren't able to do, or that you didn't even try to do, and then you'll face them later in your life and you'll be like, holy shit, maybe I should have done something. At least I will not leave that room for doubt for me. And that answer has both perspectives, a general perspective and also my opinion as well. And then this is the last part of it, which is, does gendered thinking risk the erasure of individuality and personal opportunity? I think no. Gendered thinking is again one of those things where it's like they it is inherent what most people are good at and what most people are not good at, and we start weighing the goods and bad and we get an answer. It's a simple answer but a very complicated answer as well. If a woman, even though she loves to, this might be a bad example, and I'll give both examples from men and women, and I'll try my best. I'm not a woman, so it's very hard for me to see from that experience or speak from it. I'll try my best. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So if a woman is really good at construction, and if a man is really good at construction, I think one guy is gonna get the job more easily than the other, and there will be so many different factors. But I don't think that's a good example. Let me just reread that question so I can understand it even more. Thinking risk the erasure of individuality and personal opportunity. I think I don't think gendered thinking will affect personal opportunity because personal opportunity are a person's strengths and weaknesses. And if a person can see that and he can balance those out, I think he finds himself in a very unique position where he can create his own opportunities and doesn't have to be limited to the social things. But again, it comes back to the accountability part where he has to understand and think. And this is what I was thinking about after reading this is we all have thoughts. We all have thoughts. There's no questioning that. We have bad thoughts and we have good thoughts. But does it mean we always do the bad? Do we always like focusing on the bad thoughts and then doing them or like implementing them in real life? No. But do we do that with good thoughts? Yes. If both those answers were no and yes, then you know what's good and bad, and we know that everyone has it. So does that mean that like it's hard to explain? Individuality, I don't think gender thinking does it. The question itself is, for me, it's almost like why gender is involved in individuality and then um, personal opportunity. Because personal opportunity is personal opportunity, it's not involved with gender, and individuality is individuality. Gender thinking might just be like this way to incite, perhaps, this differentiation or like this argument between men and women. And yeah, I will try to answer it again. I will read the last part of your comment and then I will close it all up. It's 34 minutes. Goddamn. I've been yapping for 34 minutes. Anyway, for example, so this is the last part of the comment. For example, I am a woman, and if some of the previous social understandings of a woman were not disassembled by today, I would not have the opportunity to know the term simulacrum, because I would not be deemed fit for the education that would allow my knowing of such a term. I wonder, are our current understandings of men and women similarly fallible, or have we by this century fully understood my initial question That is what it means to be a man or a woman. I'd be curious to know your thoughts. So, I just want to make sure I get the name correct. God damn, let me click on it. Ella. In our history, there has been a lot of goods and bads. And in our current era, there are a lot of good and bad. There are different cultures, there are different religions. And to weigh it all out, we have to come back to balance. This is what I believe. We can't go to extremes because if you go far enough right, you actually turn back and then you're just at like you keep going right, 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 and then you end up at the left. And then if you keep going left enough, you end up on the right. And that's maybe a bad example, but at the midst of all of this, if we start weighing out the goods and the bads and base it on reality with our current understanding, with the current effects that it has on the future generations or our own health, both mental and physical, the long term effects, the short term effects, I think we can come to a conclusion that what's right and what's not right. I'll just say that. Because for example, I truly believe this. I think there's, there are people out there. Please hear me out. If anyone's out there who's always looking to argue or to fight, uh, stop, think, understand. We are not enemies. We are not enemies, bro. You don't even know me. I don't even know you. We all have our experiences. And maybe if we have some compassion and try to understand that and look at it from that way, I think we can solve each other's problems and help each other out. There are evil people out there. There are fucking evil people out there who put these. You have to ask them, why did you ask this question? Why are you creating this bad loop on top of a bad loop? Why are we not focusing on the goods? Because there's good and bad both out there. If we choose to focus on the bad, we'll always find the bad. If we choose to focus on the good, we'll always find the good. If you treat a person good, he will treat you back hopefully good. But of course, if you treat a person bad, if you look at him and point at him, what do you expect that guy's gonna do? What do you expect? If he's a sane person, not fed by all this bullshit, he will most likely walk away without giving you an answer. But if he's fed by the same loops that perhaps you are, I'm not calling you out, by the way, Lena. I'm not calling you out. This was a fantastic question. I always wanted to cover this because I kept thinking about it, and I think I will point fingers at the people who are creating this distance between us. They are the ones to blame, not the people who are just living their lives. They have their differences. Cool. Everyone has their own differences. Look at my fucking hair, bro. Not a single day in my life have they ever been straight. They, every day I woke up, all of my hairs are just rioting, bro. Look at these fuckers, bro. And I've come to peace with that. It's like cool. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's the mixed blood that I was gifted, and I'll be glad about it. There are some goods, there are some bads. That's it. So to go back to the ending part of this, I think we have to even weigh, are we focusing on the right things? That's one thing. My hair's got extremely fucked up now. Are we focusing on the right things? Are we asking the right questions? Or are we just pulling each other? It's like this unlimited game of pulling each other down or pointing at our weaknesses or pointing. There's no way, at least from what I'm currently seeing, there's nobody out there who's currently uplifting. Perhaps this is something bad in you. Okay. Perhaps, but again, if the bad is a drag queen, fat ass man, partially bald, with a lot of makeup, extremely nasty dressed up, and he's going teaching freaking kindergarten kids, that's fucking bad. No argument there. That's fucking bad, evil. But if someone who's, let's say, wearing some pink, or wearing some, has long hair, has some piercings, do we call him bad? I don't think so. I think that's his personal choice, and it's not bringing any, the goods and the ways, they're balanced. I don't think it's affecting, harming anyone. Meanwhile, that other guy is definitely harming. And you can correct me on my example, but we can give examples as much as we want. Like, there are so many different scenarios and we can keep arguing about it, but we have to go back to the point. We have to find that big bang, we have to see where it began, and that would be, we have to just weigh the goods and the bads. We have to, like, help each other, be patient with each other, be more understanding, not point fingers, not be aggressive to begin with. Even if someone is being aggressive, I've noticed, and this is from my personal experience, if someone is very aggressive, so one of my clients called me, he was pissed off. He's like, "No, you can't do this. I lost this customer," and this is a real incident. And I picked up. I was very calm. He was angry for the first 25 minutes, 20 minutes. And the whole time, I think my friend can testify for that because he was sitting right beside me and he could hear it on the call. And I was very calm. I was like, let's come back. What can we do right now? And I kept like de-escalating the situation. And then around 25, 20 minutes, he calmed down. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I was super stressed out. There was this. I was like, it's okay, this happens." And I'm not trying to be a saint here. I'm not trying to be a saint here. I'm a bad person to, I can do some bad shits. I have my own character flaws. And that's okay. So do you. So does that person. So does everyone else. It's pretty simple. And we all have our own moments of weaknesses, but that doesn't define us. It's that simple. So yeah, I think I'll end at that. I'll end at that. I'll just reread it. To be a man or a woman, what it means to be a man or a woman. It's experiencing life as well, living your life in the moment and making sure that you're trying your best and you're not harming, or you're trying your best not to harm. I sound like a villain now. You're trying your best not to harm. Look, retarded shit, Um, look, it's not gonna hurt. And then you just stab him. Oh, it's okay. I'm gonna just. It's fucking crazy. So again, I'm flawed as well. Not that I'm doing that. I'm not harming anybody. I'm not harming anybody. I'll repeat that. It's just a weird scenario in my head that popped up. I was like, no. So, yeah, I think who created that difference between us and why are they pitting us against each other? Why are we focusing on the negatives? Why can't we focus on the positives? Why can't we uplift each? Why can't we talk about the goods that the good part of um, the positives, the strengths, and perhaps cover up the weaknesses or help find or help strengthen their weaknesses. And this is another thing I want to talk about. I know it's going freaking 45 minutes, but I think once you find your weakness, I think you should just stop everything. Um, and if you're religious or if you can be thankful, just start like thanking, if you have faith, that thank God you found your weakness, because most people don't find their weakness and they live their entire life not even realizing what were their weaknesses, because once you find your weakness, that's a starting point. You can begin to fortify around it or strengthen it, and just smile, like be happy, bro. Like, my God, bro, this is amazing, because nobody else in the entire world could figure out what your weakness is. Only you can. Maybe someone who's close to you, perhaps your character flaws or something, but the real weakness, why the loops, why the certain behaviors, because you can trace it back to its origin, where it began, and then perhaps soothe it or like fix it from the initial, the beginning. So yeah, I'm again very thankful for the comment with all these complexities, and it's not easy to answer, I'll be honest. I tried my best to answer, and I didn't make up an answer from ChatGPT or some shit. I'll speak from my limited experience and what I feel to be right. I think it's right, and I believe it. And I hope more people start to look at the question and ask the person who's asking the question. I'm not questioning you, because this question was really good. The people who make it like a bad thing, that's who I'm talking about. Like, why is this question being asked? Is it to like ignite the flames between um, males and females? Did I say females and females? Anyway, males and females. That's what I wanted to say, in case I said females, females. I think I didn't. But anyway. So yeah, that would be my answer. Find your weaknesses, strengthen them, and then weigh the goods and bads from the decision or the decisions or the action or the inaction, and then I think you find your answer. For everything, I think. For everything. Both in the long term and the short term. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And thank you again, Ella. And freaking where is she? The other one. God damn. Bro, I'm immune to veggies. Good luck.